suppose we ought to get started. Hi, I'm Bruce McDonald, and welcome to Academics of PA. Probably a working title in progress, and I am joined by my two fantastically awesome co-hosts.
I'm Will Hatcher from Augusta University.
Oh, he put the plug in.
Yeah, actually, that's actually probably a good call. No, if we're academics, we should say where we work. I'm Josie Schafer, and I'm at the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
Woohoo! All right.
Yeah.
I'm all about free media, so there will be a lot of plugs for Augusta University, the newest research institution in Georgia, with an excellent MPA program.
I hear the director's crap, though. You might want to be careful.
But if you Google Augusta University MPA, if you're looking for an MPA program, you can learn anything you need to know.
Good job, Will.
Yeah.
Good job.
Free media.
Hashtag do hatch.
The problem is anyone going to listen to this?
There will be one person on Twitter that will listen to it over and over again, and it will creep us out.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
It's like I had this one video on YouTube that I did an interview for, and it looked like somebody was constantly refreshing, and it creeped me out a little bit.
Well, you know, what we could do for publicity is like bring some like cats in here, like post cat pictures. So, for our guests, we have a couple guests coming up. We can get a picture of Don Kettle holding a cute little kitten.
Well, I have a 15-pound Norwegian forest cat that can be the mascot of the pod. Like how Pod Save America has Friends of the Pod. This can be the mascot of the pod. Huh. And he's vicious, but he's really sweet.
So we have a mean, sweet cat.
Yeah,
all right.
He's vicious. You diss the pod, he'll be vicious.
This is just like all pop culture references just thrown into one. We have drinking, we have books, we have cats. Just anything we can throw at it.
This is true. We'll get everybody.
Yeah, something for everybody. That's the goal.
So I can always say, going forward, I will probably always have a scotch with me like I do right now. Well, I suppose we should probably say at least what we're doing here. And for this one, I'm going to blame Will a little bit because it was his harebrained idea in a roundabout way from NASPA. So Will, why are we here?
At NASPA, Bruce had these really nice microphones, and I was just being goofy all the time, so that'd be good for a podcast. And next thing you know, and I purchased one of the microphones, but I can't use it, so I have a $5 special right now. But yeah, that was the origin of this adventure.
Yeah, it's not quite a glamorous story, but I always like harebrained ideas, and that kind of sounded like fun.
And also, there's really not a solid podcast out there to discuss some of the issues that we're facing on a serious side in public administration. What is in many ways a time of crisis right now. So, yeah, that's the not so fun part.
So, Will, it was pitched to me by Bruce as sort of a behind-the-scenes process stories, how the work of academics in public administration gets done. Is that consistent with your original vision?
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds really good.
One of those. That's good. Yeah.
I think that's a good approach to take too for the podcast, to where we serve a mentoring role, which some of our ideas may be not so helpful, but to the behind the curtain, the process of publishing, teaching, service, community outreach, the whole thing, and even how you something that I'm really interested in, and Bruce and I are doing a lot of stuff with Journal of Public Affairs Education, is how you run public affairs programs and administer them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because so many people get pulled into doing that and have no help.
Well, and isn't it funny? Public administration, we talk about government organization, governance management, and then suddenly we're in management positions, and it's as if we've never thought about how they should be managed.
I know, and we don't have a lot of go-to materials to help us with it. It's like we spend all the time worrying about management, then when we actually do it, we don't worry about it as much. And in universities, all the pathologies that we tell our students that don't really exist every day in public agencies, they tend to exist in universities.
I mean, try to debunk incremental budgeting and then go to a university.
Oh,
That's all we do.
Will's right. We spend a lot of time talking about good management. As academics, we're not necessarily very good at it ourselves.
And then some of it too is that we're not asked to participate in management decisions in universities often. I don't know, maybe because we would be naysayers to what's going on, but we're not asked a lot either. So. I think it's sometimes the same thing with the business schools and the private management side and universities. They often aren't asked either.
So why don't we talk about how we've started to think about who should be on the podcast and even maybe some of the feedback they've actually given about participating.
Sure. Right now we have 3 confirmed scheduled, but we've only actually fully asked 4.
3 out of 4 is good, no?
That's excellent.
We have Jim Perry, which is exciting to come on to kind of talk about what his career was like and kind of do a look back from his career's perspective of where should we be going as a field moving forward. And then we've also asked Don Kettle to come on, talk about a little bit of the same thing, but also his viewpoint in terms of what we should be doing, given his role of integrating between the academic side of things with the practical side of things from his job in DC with the University of Texas at Austin.
Awesome. And then we have a list of other people who have you all sort of dreamed about being able to ask these questions to?
I know my dream. So my dream's the 4th person who we've asked. They haven't said no, and we're kind of working on it, which is Anthony Downs. He hasn't said no. He hasn't said yes yet, but he has said that he will consider inviting me out to his house to record it, which...
That's really serious.
Yeah.
I know. He lives right outside of DC. He doesn't want to do it over the phone. And so he's considering just letting me come and sit there at his house with the microphone, which is...
You need to bring those mics from NASPA for that one. You got to go fancy. You can't go with the cheap mics. You need to go with the nice ones.
Well, who did you want to talk to?
It'd be good to talk with some of the people that I constantly push on my students to make the case for bureaucracy, like Charles Goodsell. But I don't really have a list per se. I have more of a focus on talking about issues of trust and how we in public administration education can help deal with that and help our communities. And that's why I'm excited that Don Kettle has agreed to be part of this fun experiment, because he's done a lot of work in recent years looking at issues of trust and how public administration education can improve that. And I think there's a lot we can do in our MPA programs just through our service work in our communities and rebuilding from a bottom up the trust in government by showing and getting good quality outcomes from our local partners.
Yes, Will, I didn't know this podcast was going to go this way, but I think it's really cool. Oh, God, we might actually help somebody? No way. So for my dissertation, I remember being on the phone with some retired folks that worked at the Bureau of Land Management, and they kept talking about the importance of trust building. And so I asked the question, what does trust mean to you? So now I want to ask you, Will, what's trust mean to you?
Oh,
wow, we got deep.
I know we got deep all of a sudden. I wasn't ready for that. I tend to, even, it's been criticized a good bit, but I tend to follow a social capital view of trust that if I do something and we're working together on a community goal, that even if we have fundamental disagreements, we can still try to get at some empathy to see where, you're coming from. And that if I help you on something and in the future, there's some level of reciprocity with that. But when it comes to government, we want to have government that we think cares about us. But part of that's the responsibility of citizens, in that many of us today think that government's always going to do what we want it to do and don't understand that sometimes you lose.
I'll throw this in really quick. This episode goes live the end of February. Right now it is still January and we are in the shutdown. So, the question of whether the government really cares about us might be negotiable right now.
Uh, the world's strange. So now that some of the context that Will provided, I'm really excited about Jim Sfara. So he doesn't talk a lot about this now, but like the politics administration dichotomy is sort of an amazing question in terms of trust. Like, do we want bureaucrats involved in policy? Would it be better policy with them? So I think that conversation would be interesting in this context. I had mentioned George Boyne, who, Will, you talked about Good Cell. And so right after we read, in my classes, right after we read Banishing Bureaucracy, we read a couple of Boynes on public-private distinctions. And I think that is sort of a central question to what's going on in the federal government right now. Do we really think that we can manage government like any private sector business? If so, why do we think that? What should people know about government that makes us think, wow, we should manage it different, it's worth managing differently? And how do we teach that so that people go, I get it, and trust us that it's different?
Every class that I teach in our MPA program, the first or second week's a discussion on how this topic is different in the public sector than the private sector.
Yeah.
And it's a constant theme. And I think a lot of people think when they talk about run government like a business just means run government in a professional manner oftentimes. And they tend to think that businesses are always run in a professional manner. I don't know why. All you have to do
Isn't that the funniest part of it all? Like, who's running what so well?
Yeah. What business runs that well? It's not insurance. It's not retail. It's not. I mean, what part? It's
Right.
not.
Everybody has catastrophes, mistakes, screws up. Could make more. Could make less. Who knows? Yeah. All right. Deep, Will. Into it. Hey, do we like the label for the podcast?
I like it.
You
It's
do?
really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Like my idea would be sometimes what my PowerPoint slides look like, just a white background, facts. I'm really bad at designing issues. I try to be better. I purchased a new iPad and I told my wife I had to get it because I need to be able to design things better, like infographics and stuff. That was my excuse. It's not
And
working.
how's it going?
Not working. I got in some trouble about that new iPad. My other one was only like 2 years old. But yeah, this new one, the pencil sticks right to it. It's like a magnet, it's great. My old one didn't do that. So I've got to design things. So if we need some other kind of marketing items, I may.
Well, shameless plug then. Follow us at UN Omaha CPAR on Twitter. We are making amazing infographics, if I don't say so myself.
I like it.
Yeah.
And what's the website, too, if you want to see the website?
Absolutely. Go at unoomaha.cpar and then go to our news feed, #Nebraska by the numbers. You will see all our infographics there as well.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of numbers are you talking? What kind of applied research do you do there?
So we are the state data center on the census. So we do a lot of dissemination on census data, American Community Survey specifically. That's one of our big ones. We are actually have a big pitch at 11:30 today to do some ed policy work. We'll evaluate anything you got going on. Probably the coolest thing I do, though, is I present directly to a committee of the state legislature.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a planning committee. So it's essentially like a strategic planning group within the legislature. And I sit down with them once a month when they're out of session and help them to think about what are the long-term trends, what are the needs, what are the policies. They sort of say, this is the policy we're interested in. And then we go back and do policy briefs that say, here's how other people are doing it. Here's what you could do. Here's what's interesting.
So basically, when Will and I talk about the fact that, we talk about how to do government better, you're actually trying to make it better.
I'm at least talking to the people that have a chance at making it better. That's for sure. That is for sure. I mean, it's very cool. Like I'm in the Capitol building talking about it.
She's actually doing it. I'm just retweeting stuff and getting mad.
Hey, Will, I think we need a new co-host because Josie's not on our soapbox with us. That's not
No.
fair.
Well, so I mean, it's funny. Like, I have really strong opinions about these things, but in a professional environment, how can we shape how we talk about them in helpful ways? But I will tell you that our legislature, I'm just very impressed that they at least want to know. They at least want to ask the
Mhm.
questions. They at least want the opportunity to see what could happen, and that's a good starting place, I guess.
That's one of the things that I'm really excited about the work we do here at Augusta University with our local community is because our local nonprofits and local governments, the cities and counties in our metro area, really they want to know. So we do a number of projects with them, but they want to know what's the most effective, efficient way of going about doing things, and they do ask us. So it's really exciting that they ask.
They ask, right? Like, and that's where it all starts, and then we can help. I tell you, we're just about to do a project with the Nebraska Division of Health and Human Services that I think is really interesting. They have data. They just want to organize it. They just want to put it in a way that is useful going forward, so they can at least start to track and think about what's going on. And I think we're all sort of excited about big data movements and using our method skills to do fun and cool things. But it's nice to just think about how do we set people up for success so that they can do it for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on with a county government, their emergency management department. We're helping them do a contingency plan for their information technology.
Ah,
And it's interesting. It's interesting to help with that, the contingency planning, and we're integrating students. But it's also interesting from the standpoint that just the information technology department's a separate department from emergency management, and showing that to our students and helping coordinate that. It's all the stuff that we talk about, we actually try to do. But
absolutely. I think that you brought this up at one point, but I think that's a really critical piece of this podcast and something I know I want to ask. How do public administration faculty in particular manage the fun and need for engagement as well as the more traditional academic side? Do they find it easy to bring it together? Is it a challenge? What do they know from doing it over some course of time? I think public administration is changing to value both pretty equally, but there are still challenges to that, and how do we do it well?
I think with our MPA program and with us not having a doctoral program, it's not as challenging. Some classes, of course, that are more theory based and research, but it's all theory based and research. But then we do have a number and a strong mission where we do incorporate a lot of projects and a lot of applied work to balance it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think, one of the things we have is kind of this idea within, academia that we should publish or perish. In order to get tenure, you have to publish papers. And unfortunately, for most universities, the practitioner-oriented stuff doesn't count. So the white papers that we write, those are good, and everybody says, oh, yeah, we value it. But at the end of the day, for the tenure decision,
They don't value it.
it only values so much as that they're willing to give you tenure for it, and most places aren't willing to do that. And I think what could actually be interesting is
Yeah. So I want to bring up the possibility of a lightning round of questions, and if it should go at the beginning or should go at the end, and what we should ask.
I think we should do it at the end because that way it forces all of our listeners to listen to the entire thing.
Okay. It's sad that that's our goal, but okay, I get it. Please just listen to the end. We promise we'll say something interesting.
It's a good strategy.
Okay. Does anybody have any ideas?
Ooh.
I will tell you that there's always those sort of quirky little on Twitter news stories that are like, Albert Einstein didn't sleep. And, what do the top billionaires in the country eat for breakfast? And I read every single one of those. And I don't know why, but I'm completely interested in when people sleep, how much people sleep, what they eat. I'm always interested in what they eat.
So it'd be like favorite food, favorite musician, favorite cocktail, last book you read.
Yes.
For a lot of people, it's going to be entirely different than what you expect. So,
Yes.
Josie and Will, favorite food,
Yeah.
go. Let's hear it.
Oh, gosh, it's so hard, though. I wouldn't say a food, but I mean, I would say Mexican food generally.
I'm going to say hamburgers.
Hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Oh, please clarify.
The president and I share affiliation for hamburgers, spelled HAMBERDERES. Is that too political for the podcast? I don't think so. I like a lot of food. Probably too much. Since I've stopped jogging as much as I used to.
Oh yeah, do you work out? That's a question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah. I used to, but not anymore.
Based on our own answers, I don't think this is going to be very lightning round at all. Intense philosophical discussion about what it means. Yeah, we can try though. We can try.
So we have, favorite food, maybe, although favorite food that's learned about Will's running habits, which, albeit interesting.
I like falafel. There we go. That sounds great.
It is a good choice. It is a good choice.
I'm from the South, so anything fried is usually good for me. So it's kind of like, I like the lightning round. Like I'm like Josie. I'm obsessed with people's sleeping patterns and stuff a little too much. I guess because I have issues with mine, so I'm always curious, and I always think that.
Yeah, right. Like.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that these things are actually what causes someone to be successful or someone that I want to aspire to. Yet these are things I could do something about. If Jim Perry says, you got to eat vegan to live a long life, like I'm open to hearing about it.
I know. If we hear somebody that says, all these articles you see that you've got to wake up at 3:30 a.m.
I have to at least try. Yeah.
And then I'm, on the other side, I'm obsessed with life and work balance, which is good. But then it leads to me reading things like the New York Times has a series, Sunday Routine, where they interview somebody about what they do on Sundays. That's
that's a good one. Like, how do you start Sunday morning?
Yeah,
I'm into that question.
That's how sad professional life is today, though, that we're so busy and so stretched that we like to read and relax about what people do on Sunday. Yeah. My Sunday routine consists of just sitting there, just sitting.
So I have a question that might be inappropriate, but I will bring a woman's perspective to it. One of the flippant angry comments I make sometimes is, well, I bet all of those scholars got all that writing done because someone else took care of their kids for them. And that's rude and inappropriate, and I recognize that, and I'm assuming a lot. But I do wonder about, in terms of like the question of work-life balance, how much do scholars participate in their home life, or are they completely work-focused? So I don't think we have to say what I assume about some people, but I think that question of like, how do you spend a Sunday is like a really worthy question.
Well, no, especially when we're getting senior scholars to come on to talk, and reflect about their career.
Yeah. Like, how did you actually get it all done?
And perhaps part of that is, looking back going, I wish I had spent less time on the research and more time oriented on the family.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do your kids hate you? That will be lightning round question number 1.
Oh, we will get listeners, but we may not get guests.
Yeah, no one's coming back after that. It's going to be very cool to be able to have these conversations with just those kind of people. So
yeah,
I'm concerned how this is going to come out.
Yeah, I'm concerned now. I'm starting to think about like who's the podcast. You have editors, and we got to have like who makes the final editorial decisions here, because some of this stuff may need.
Don't worry. Before it ever gets posted, you'll hear it. Some point next week, y'all should have this one back to give it a peruse through if you want. Though if you're like me, I hate my voice when I hear it recorded back, so I'll probably cringe halfway through.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's going to be better not to know what I said.
Just let it fly.
Yeah.
Well, this first episode comes out, like about a week and a half before ASPA. So you'll be at ASPA walking around, people like, you're the one who kind of likes Mexican foods and thinks that, men just rely on their wives for everything. And you can be like, huh?
Yep, that's accurate. Oh, goodness. Again, Not gonna. Definitely not listening.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's a good episode. Maybe we should have our listeners think about possible themes and alternate titles for the pod and things like that.
As we finish up our first full episode, I will say this as we are signing off. We have created a Twitter account at Academics of PA, so please give us a follow. Send us a shout out. Anybody you think we should talk to, any questions you want to know from somebody, there's the place to do it. Otherwise, thanks for joining us, and Will and Josie, y'all have a great one.